gang.
Congrats on selling out Red Rocks for the first night this weekend.
Thank you. Thanks.
What does that mean to you, selling out that venue? What does that kind of a milestone mean to not only a band but also a string band? Because it's usually known as a rock venue.
You know, I think it's I mean, not to say that it's not amazing, because it's amazing. I think it says a lot more about, or maybe I'm just trying to be humble, but I think it says a lot, so much about like the music scene out here in Colorado. I'm in Denver sitting here right now, but of course we have a lot of fans flying in from other parts of the country to come to a show at Red Rocks, because Red Rocks is amazing. But what a testament really to just what the music scene has become here in Denver. I mean, there's a lot of shows at Red Rocks now too, and it's not like they're all selling out. So it's also a testament to the strength of our fan base here.
Yeah. Well, you sold out the Ogden too, right?
Yeah. That's kind of like during Red Rocks weekend. That's kind of like a given, because that's a ticket package. You have to buy like a weekend pass to get the Ogden thing. Okay. So that sells out instantly. Which in itself is impressive, because that's 1,800 people and stuff. I'm super grateful for what we have here in Colorado, and honestly, every time we these tickets, because it continues to sell out, and I'm like, yeah, this is great, but it's not, I never expect it to still, which is I think a good approach as well. Like, I don't expect it to sell out, and it's a huge, massive crowd with massive capacity, and it's just, if it does, that's an awesome bonus, and if it doesn't, that's still great. We get several thousand people who want to come out and watch us play a show. It's pretty awesome.
What's that say about the scene right now? Because as someone like myself who writes about it nationally, it seems that there's such a resurgence right now in the interest in not only extreme music but also live music.
Yeah, great for us. I think that, I don't know, I think that's been happening for some time. Somehow through all like through all of like the depression of like 2008 or whatever, and like that, when the, what do they call it? Oh, the recession, not the depression. Just, it seems like our little, from a business owner perspective, more than even a musician perspective, like this little business we were running continued to grow, albeit slow, for years. I think live music is something that you just can't be replaced. I think the way people who care about it, when they're finding figuring out what they're going to do with their money, they still prioritize going out and seeing live music, whether it's us or whoever their favorite band is. There's something that can't be duplicated about that experience of being in the presence of your favorite musicians and being there with your community that you've built around that, and just that getting out and getting that escape, like going to a concert and just being able to tap into that scene and that environment. I think that is sort of irreplaceable, regardless of how technology is changing entertainment and what else is going on in the world. Just live music it always was for me and for my community, growing up. And it was Fish for us, and it was The Dead for people as well. And I think we provide that for some people, and now there's the community that's around Greensky, and I think the people who are tapped into it place high importance on it in their lives, and that's an honor for us. In Denver, I feel like the music scene, like, this is where we first, Asheville took us a lot longer, but Denver, Colorado is the first place where Greensky went from being like the band with 12 people in a bar who just don't give a fuck. Colorado was the place where we started playing like some real shows in front of some real crowds. And so they've sort of been the marker for all the other places. When we were, when we started having a little bit of success here, we would come to Colorado over and over and over again to get our fill there, and then we were still, struggling to make it happen in the Southeast and on the East Coast and, in California, and the Pacific Northwest came around sort of second. But just finding Colorado here just has always been sort of even to the extent that for a long time, many people thought we were a band from Colorado.
Yeah.
Many journalists are like, "Oh, you guys from Colorado?" Or, do a write about it's like Colorado's Greensky Bluegrass. And in a sense, we kind of have become that. I mean, 3 of my bandmates live here.
Yeah.
At this point, and this whole scene has sort of cradled us during our growth periods in all the other parts of the country that have sort of now.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Not quite.
It's crazy.
Still caught up, but yeah.
I was just out in Denver a couple weeks ago for Fish, and
cool.
Yeah, I used to live out in the Rockies way back in the day, but it was just crazy to see how different that scene is and how it's spilling into the rest of the country in a good way. You're starting to see a lot of these bands that, like for what happened with you guys, as this jump off point. But
yeah, and there's a lot of bands too. I think a lot of new bands too who are starting out here, and some of our new younger contemporaries now.
Well, I'm excited to see the one that's opening for you guys, the Little Smokies. I haven't seen them yet.
Oh, dude, they're killer.
Yeah,
they're really good. They're out of Missoula, Montana. They're a really cool band.
Yeah.
I don't know who to compare them to. They're badasses.
Yeah.
Good songs, really great playing, great singing. They have this real great, texture jam thing going on that I really dig. And they're just awesome dudes. I'm really excited about that tour.
Now, in terms of Greensky, you guys have always blurred the lines between genres and also what you can do, whether it's on stage or just even venues you play. Is that something that was always in the mindset of the band, or is that how it just evolved? To avoid being pigeonholed.
I think it's both. There was a time early in our career when we were just starting to gain some traction. Sorry for all my snorting and stuff. I'm a little congested, and I did just wake up. There was a part earlier in our career when we were just starting to gain a little bit of traction and just starting to it was. I remember it was when we took on our manager, who's still with us today. It got to be freaking 12 years later or something, where we had to make this decision about what was Greensky. We didn't have a super ton of live material at the time, so we were playing a lot from the Bluegrass catalog, and we were doing some covers we'd been doing, and our original music it wasn't as oriented towards jam and improvisation as it is now. So at one point I remember that we had to make this decision about what were we trying to become? Were we trying to be a bluegrass band and follow that path and try and get in the traditional, more bluegrass minded world and try and get the attention of those booking agents and those record labels, or were we trying to be a jam band?
Yeah.
Bluegrass band. And it was pretty evident to us by then that what seemed like the natural path was not to try and get into this real traditional world, and in a sense, I think we saw that our abilities to be different and creative, and be something new in the scene was much greater than our ability to compete with this bluegrass establishment, of that exists. You're talking about these picks in Waynesville and at ISIS and stuff. We were not steeped in bluegrass our whole lives. We did not grow up picking with our uncles and I don't know, not to make the people who are doing that, not to sort of made it sound hokey, but it's there's a culture of bluegrass that a lot of these people who are playing bluegrass professionally have come up and they've been doing it their whole lives.
And I get all the the neo-traditional versus the progressive kind of camp thing, but why is it so hard for the neo-traditional and even just the IBMAs to embrace Greensky? I ask because I'll preface.
I don't care.
Well, I'll preface that question is when I go in some of these circles and write about these people, they always ask me. I'm usually the youngest person in the room by 20 years, and And they always ask me, like, where are all the young people? I said, they're at Greensky. You should open your gates a little more.
Yeah, we've got some people working on the inside. It's just funny that it's, that
you guys in the string dusters are killing it right now.
We're wholly, what's that?
You guys in the string dusters are killing it right now. Yeah.
They sort of have their foot a little further into that door than we do. It's funny, it's that, your question was about, whether we chose, and we did choose to not go the traditional route.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think that in some sense it was because of like our limitations as traditional bluegrass players. Like we weren't that, so we focused instead on doing what we did differently instead of trying to conform to this thing. But
definitely,
as far as IBMA and all that stuff, I don't care.
Well,
this thing.
You guys have always done your own thing, anyways. But it's just it's funny.
I'd rather get like recognition for being like probably the highest ticket selling bluegrass act in America. Like I don't know. Like that might be true. That might be true.
It's got to be.
Which is insane to think about because it's not like it might be true.
Well, it's almost
like Alison Krauss and Union Station aren't playing, and they were selling a lot of tickets. But I mean, like. Red Rocks is big, and we're commonly on tour selling 1,000+ tickets a night. It makes it so clear to me that we've departed so far from bluegrass that we are not a bluegrass band. We're called Greensky Bluegrass, and every Uber driver is like, "Oh, well, you're a musician, blah blah blah." And then they're like, "Well, what's your band called?" And I'm just like, "Greensky Bluegrass," and then they always say, "Oh, so do you play bluegrass music?" Which
exactly.
Seems like a pretty dumb question, but the answer is not yes.
Yeah.
It's not like, well, yeah, that's our name, that's what we do, you idiot. It's more like, well, that's a great question, and sort of an unexpected answer is like, no, we don't play bluegrass music. We play rock and roll music.
Yeah.
We play with rock and roll production with a light rig at high volume. We don't have drums, and we play instruments that can be played unplugged.
Well, what's funny, what's funny to me is that like. When I get asked those questions, because I'm steeped in both camps of what you guys have been doing for a long time, and then I also cover the other stuff. But it's funny when I get asked those questions. I'm like, that I found bluegrass through the portal of the Grateful Dead. That's where you find new listeners, is the portals. It's not the core, it's the portals to the core. And you guys are definitely.
Well, that's how we found it. That's how we found it too.
Yeah. So it's like
through faith, through fish in the bed. It's weird.
All these young people that are watching Greensky, if they really love it, which they do, they're going to go down that rabbit hole and they'll find what they're looking for. You know. But